Hello and thank you for joining us on a Tuesday edition of Journalist Hangout. I am Esther Mopariola. Today on the program, former President Olusegun Obasanjo says Nigeria is sitting on a keg of gunpowder over youth unemployment. Nationwide blackout as national grid collapses for the 5th time in 2024. And later on the show, President Tinubu's security heads meet over state of the nation as protests persist with curfew imposed in Kaduna, Bauchi and Plateau after looting of banks and businesses. I will be hanging out with Olayinka Oyegbile and Tunde Abaton. Journalist Hangout starts now. As in cases of youth unemployment in Nigeria means there is an urgent need to safeguard the future of its most active population. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo re-echoed the urgency of this crisis when he said that Nigeria is sitting on a keg of gunpowder over youth unemployment. Now, the former president issued this warning following the ongoing nationwide protests over economic hardship in the country. Well, as they say, empowering the youth is empowering the country. Olayinka, let me come to you on this. First off, how dangerous now is this trend in the wake of the current, protests ravaging the country, especially in the north? What do you make of the statement credited to the former president?
You see, before today, some of us, or many people, have been talking about it, but our leaders seem now to just be waking up to the time bomb that we have been sitting on. We have been saying this for ages. Now you have a situation where, especially, and people usually, they say the truth is bitter. People don't want you to say it. They think that you are saying something bad about other part of the country, or you are trying to feel a bit superior. But I'm happy. On TV yesterday, there was a man who, they called him an Arewa leader, who said the truth. Look, what is happening now is that the time bomb, it has even started exploding. It's not only that we are sitting on the time bomb. We have moved a bit and it has started exploding. How? When the notice was given that there was going to be protests around the country, this, and that, the concentration was in the south. Thinking that it was going to be in the south, that it was going to happen. Leaders were called from all over the country, yes. Northern leaders, spiritual leaders, all those, everybody trooped, as we used to have it during the military era. They all trooped to the Aso Villa, and they were all assuring us there will be no trouble, there will be no trouble. But before then, some and many of us have known that this thing, it is going to explode. Unfortunately, we always want to be proved wrong because it is better to err on the side of caution. We always want to be proved wrong. But see what has happened. These boys, if you look at the level, the number of the people who are perpetrating this, they were not people you can talk to any sensibly. Why? Because most of them are uneducated. Most of them are people you allow to roam the street anyhow. You give birth. After 4 or 5 years, you throw them out, go to the Malam to go and learn the Quran and all that. Western education is Boko Haram and all that. See the result today. And besides that, we always, when they attacked, the one that touched me most, that video, they attacked the National Library in Kano. I schooled in Kano, so I know the National Library. Array of books here and there. What did they take? Not a single sheet of paper was taken. Chairs, biros, even broom, ordinary broom, were all taken. Are these people anybody is talking to? We have neglected. When President Jonathan built Almajiri schools during his tenure, what happened when he left office? Those things today have become perhaps cowsheds and whatever. And then we are, see, a country that does not educate its children is not a country.
Right.
Today now, just before I came in, the Borno State Commissioner for Information and Internal Security, Professor Usman Tar, said yesterday after the Borno State Executive Council met, they have decided that any child who does not have an identity card or proof of parental care will not be allowed to enter the capital. That's Maiduguri. It is high time we start doing things like that all over.
Right.
Because today now, I mean, very recent, or well, it has been happening in the past. You see trailers driving into the southwest, into the southeast. You see arrays of Okada and arrays of boys on it. Where are they going? If you stop them, they'll say Nigeria is a free country, everybody has a right to move.
Right.
But no state has woken up to that now.
Right. Indeed, you've made a point already. I quite agree about what you posited, that education is the key and the right way to go. But, Tunde, coming to you on this matter, we understand that the present government has, initiated programs, more or less, to set the country on track. But what's your assessment of the present administration? Are they doing what they need to do? Because if at all we have a situation on our hands where the majority of the youth are unemployed, not well educated, what are your thoughts, or what's your assessment rather of this present government's programs to lift the country out of this current indulgence?
I think there are two issues that we have to look at. Number one, the government recently, only last week I was showing something to somebody in my church. The National Education Loan Fund has disbursed money. They have started disbursing money to students in INC, about 20,000 of them. And there was a report that students from the northern part of Nigeria enrolled more on that scheme than those from the southern part, who took a lot of things for granted. They have cousins who can help them. And look at just what Enyika said about the Commissioner for Education in Borno State now. He said that they will start asking people evidence of their coming to
the city.
In 1979, late Chief Obasanjo said something. He said that when the revolution starts in Nigeria, it's going to start from the north. But nobody listened then. So it was referring to the army of illiterates and unemployed youths that are roaming the streets of the north. Today, we have about 11 million out-of-school children in Nigeria. 10 million out of them are from the northern part of the country. And for any crisis to start, they're just looking for something to trigger it. Governor Zulum, he said something on Thursday last week. He said that it amazes him why most of those students who are protesting are underage people. When you give a flag or a cardboard to underage, they turn it upside down, then you know that they don't even know what they're protesting for. But they can use them because they are innocent. Yeah. And Shifawula said something that, he said an innocent and poverty-stricken person, they are the easiest prey to economic and political enslavement. Yeah. When you don't educate people, the result today, no matter the kind of programs that the federal government has put up, it will not work because the students or those people who are supposed to benefit from that thing are not ready. And the society or the government enough of the region, they are not ready to tell them. I was just reading a news item now. One shifter of the AP, he said that is what I have always believed, that protesters should start shifting focus on their state government. What are the state government doing? If people come to Lagos and the governor of Lagos State should send them back, they will start shouting that is deporting people within Nigeria. But I think we have to borrow ourselves sense. Each of the state governors, 36 states in Nigeria and Abuja, they should start doing something. They should look at the enrollment in their schools until the North take a decisive action. Because I believe most of those people who are shouting now are privileged people whose privilege are about to be taken away from them. Yeah. Not those boys who are protesting. Those boys are protesting sincerely for lack of food to eat, hunger to eat. And a hungry man is an angry man. That is the more reason why they will go to a library. They will not touch a single book when they were going to take his television to sell it at rock of bottom price. So there has to be a declaration of a state of emergency, especially in the 19 states of the northern Nigeria. That is when the program of the federal government on SMEs, on credit loan, on land fund, that is when the program can work. You could remember that in 2015, President Muhammad Buhari, he directed the World Bank and UNICEF to focus more on the northern part of Nigeria in terms of education than the south. But do you know the report of the UNICEF? They said that there were no human capacity to even man the focus, to even spend the money on education. Which means there were no teachers to even teach the children. If there are no teachers, let me tell you something. It's like a man who built several houses. You fail to educate your children. I've always been telling people that if you educate your children very, very well, there's no need for you to build a big house.
No.
Do you know why? They will not stay with you.
They won't.
So if they educate these people very well, they will not start trouble. But this revolution has started. The thing has been on since President Obasanjo just saying the obvious. The thing has been on since. What happened to NDLE, NDE, National Director of Employment, that was started in 1987 by President Ibrahim Babangida, giving loans to young graduates? What has happened so far? Have they stopped it? Have they stopped funding it? But overall, the most important thing is that it is better to have an unemployed graduate, university graduate, polytechnic graduate, or SE graduate that knows his right from left than to have illiterates who does not know their right. Ignorance and poverty leads to anger, leads to anarchy, leads to violence, leads to instability. Ignorance and poverty, they are the easiest prey. So an ignorant person, you can give him anything and he can commit any crime. So what we have to do is that, beside all the programs that the president has done, he has actually tried. Let me ask a question. Who has, among all the government, started a program on loan for students within 6 months and they have kicked it off? No government in Nigeria. It will take 2 years for them to incubate it. Now, if you do that, you have to also take a look at the primary and secondary education. Because if they use primary and secondary education, that's the most crucial. Let us go back to that level and begin to retune our education process. There's a lot of gap in our education process. So there's no amount of this thing that can be done. You cannot ask a young graduate in Nigeria, in Lagos or any of the Southwest to start burning things. They won't burn. Right. Because they believe that they have a future.
Right.
It's a case of he who is down need fear no fall.
They believe they have a future.
Point taking, have about 10 seconds.
If the dead will see the emir of the northern region, Ahmadu Bello, will be weeping in his grave now. Look, if you have been to the north, you see colleges and so on that this man built. They have today turned. Ahmadu Bello University was founded by him. See, vast area of land. The secondary school, Kufena College, all those Barewa College and the rest of them. What has happened today? They have now debased all that, and they are using the name of the same Ahmadu Bello to campaign and talk about the North.
In other words, education is the key if we are to move ahead from the current situation we are in the North. Well, still on to other issues of the focus on this program. As the saying goes, power infrastructure is not just a utility, it is a vital artery of modern society.